Chapter 11, Immunity in Humans. Now we are already at the fourth chapter under the second theme of Physiology of Humans and Animals. And there are four subtopics in this chapter. We will be looking at the first one, which is body defense. Okay, you may still remember that you have learned about this back in Form 2 Science. So the key word in the subtopic is pathogens. Do you still remember what is pathogen? Yes, that is the microorganism, the bad microorganism, because it causes disease and therefore we call it as the pathogen. The examples of pathogens include bacteria, viruses, and also parasites. And pathogens can only cause diseases if they successfully infect the body cells. So the body defense system recognizes pathogens as foreign particles known as antigens. Now this is an interaction between the antibodies like the Y shape and also the antigens. So antigens are foreign particles that enter the body and subsequently they will stimulate the immune response. So antigen will stimulate the lymphocytes. Do you still remember lymphocytes? And that is one of the white blood cells that is responsible to produce antibodies. So it will produce antibodies in the blood plasma and it acts to destroy the antigens. So antibodies are proteins that are found at the lymphocyte surface or proteins that are released by the lymphocytes into the blood plasma and they will interact with the antigens. So antigens will be destroyed and we say this is the immune response. So immunity is actually the body's ability to fight infections which is caused by pathogens or other foreign objects through specific attacks. So it is very specific on pathogens. So when our body can fight a disease, we are said to be immune to that disease. And there are three lines of defense to fight against diseases in our body, which are the first, the second, and the third line of defense, as depicted in this mind mapping. Right, the first line is characterized by skin, by the secretion of sweat and also sebum by the glands, also mucous membranes through the secretion of mucus. For second line of defense, there are phagocytes, okay, which is also a type of white blood cells that is responsible to eat up, or we say to engulf those microorganisms, and the process which we call as phagocytosis. And the third line of defense is very specific, where the antibodies will be produced by lymphocytes to act on the specific antigens. Now let's look at the first line of defense. Okay, it is actually consists of the physical and chemical lineup that will prevent the pathogens from entering deeper into the body. The first line of defense is actually not specific and it serves to prevent entry of pathogens into our body. So it is characterized by means of these, which we will be looking at it one by one. Okay, so here is another picture to summarize the first lines of defense. Alright, so let's look at the first one, beginning with the lysozyme. Okay, lysozyme is actually found in the secretion of tears, nasal mucus, saliva, and it is antimicrobial protein that can dissolve or destroy some types of bacteria. So don't ever say that your tears is only meant to express sadness, but it's actually a means of defense mechanism, which is the first line. Now this is mucous membrane, okay, which can be found alongside of the respiratory tract, for example, Okay, so this sticky fluid is called mucus, which contains also lysozymes that will destroy bacteria found in the air that enters our respiratory system. This is another means of physical defense, physical line of defense, physical and chemical, the first line defense, where the blood clotting mechanism is the one that will prevent the bacteria from entering through the wounds. Okay. Also, we have a hydrochloric acid, okay, found in the stomach, which is very acidic, that would destroy bacteria present in the food and also the drink. So sometimes when we eat those food which is not too clean, you will find yourself okay because these bacteria, when encountering with the acid that is very acidic in our stomach, gets killed. Okay, now the first line of defense, which is the skin, a physical defense that prevents entry of pathogens because it is tough and it is difficult for microorganisms to enter, to penetrate through. And the continuous shedding of the dead cell layers on the skin surface makes it difficult for various types of microorganisms to grow. Also, acts as a chemical shield because of the secretion of sebum. What is sebum? It contains oil and acid, and it prevents growth of many types of microorganisms. How about sweat, which is by the sweat glands? This contains lysozyme, which is an enzyme that will break down the cell wall of some bacteria. Alright,